How you doing, guys? It's Danny Kid. Right back in the video. Let's go. I gave you guys an update. I haven't posted in a while, but I'm right back with another video. This is month 3, I believe, of me being I was on disability. I injured myself, and I got surgery on my chest, and I've been in rehab, and I'm getting disability from my company. The state didn't pay for it, but I had private disability that they're paying for, so I'm getting the disability from there. I'm still under the insurance plan, and rehab is going good so far, thank God. I did my first push-up. I did wall push-up easy, but I did my first push-up on the table yesterday. I'm not yet there on doing flat push, but that's coming soon, probably by the end of this month. But I just want to talk about living in the real world and kind of seeing OTR trucking for what it is. And me, I did OTR trucking because of the situation and what I thought the money was going to be, which it did not really come out as planned, really, for me, OTR wise. But my pay was also come back home, because I knew deep down in my heart, unless you're getting paid $120, $150 starting out, okay, 1 year I can 6 months I can stand, but after 6 months a year, if you're not making $120, $150 over the road, it's not worth your time, in my opinion. That's just in my opinion. Especially on the East Coast. I'm in New Jersey. Rent, if you go further down South Jersey, you're probably gonna find something for like 15, 17. But rent, for the most part, for a 2-bedroom, you're gonna get 2,000 period. And me, I'm newly married, just had a kid, and OTR is no longer fitting my lifestyle. That part of my life is fading away, and I'm on to, especially me not being home and spending quality time with my family, not only my wife and kids, but spending quality time with my brother, my mother, my dad, spending quality time, even see my cousins when they came over here, spending quality time, having that time for my family members. It's really started changing my perspective, really. I always knew I was not gonna do OTR, because in my opinion, OTR, it's just for a time being. But I always looked and I'm like, yeah, I'm enjoying life. This is where it's at. The lines on my forehead is going away. I'm less stressed. I'm more happy, and I was like, yeah, I'll probably do regional. I'm not going out 3-4 weeks anymore now. That's not the future, especially me being a married man and have kids. That is not the future. And I just tell people, if you're in this trucking situation, especially OTR, come back home, do something regional, do something local. OTR, unless you're making 120, 150, or somebody who's like, I'm making $500,000, I'm not talking about you. Or somebody who's divorced, somebody who's single. If I was single, I'd probably still be doing OTR trucking for a little bit longer. But now that I'm married, things change. But if you're not single, or you're not somebody, you're trucking with your wife, or somebody who's not making at least 120, 150, I don't think, in my opinion, unless you live in a very low cost of living. But if you have rent, you have all this, in my humble opinion, this is my opinion, I do think that your time is best served somewhere else, in my opinion. Like me, it worked out, this new company that I work for, the company I work for now, is good so far. I can't complain. Right now I have disability insurance, and I'm getting taken care of, so I can't say nothing bad. But long-term wise, I know, I'm like, especially me living in real life, I'm starting to see, I'm like, no, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, long-term wise, unless you have your own truck, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I always say, if you're not making 120, 150, or you're single, or you're using this as a stepping stool to your next situation, no, it's not. I wouldn't recommend it personally. I wouldn't recommend it. If you're a family man, go local, go OTR. And there's other avenues you can have with your CDL, which is not really spoken about, in my opinion. Like, if you want to be a lineman worker, you need to have a CDL. There's some places where crane operator, you need to have a CDL. Some excavation places, you need to have a CDL. So your CDL is a good certification to have. Also, get all your endorsements. That's one thing. There's some endorsements I couldn't get as of yet, but in a couple years I'm gonna get all my endorsements. I don't plan on getting rid of my CDL, but I do plan to use my CDL to what fits my lifestyle. And I think just in general, in high school, just in life in general, people don't talk about what type of lifestyle do you really want to have. And we talk about lifestyle in trucking, but it's lifestyle in life within itself. Like, if right now, I have a family, me doing something like military, that lifestyle won't fit me. And that I had to be away from my family for long periods of time, that doesn't fit my lifestyle. or you somebody who does overnight. Personally, I don't want to do overnight. That doesn't fit my lifestyle. So you need to start finding out what type of lifestyle do you want. And me stepping away from trucking through an injury, and I think it's part of God's work, really made me start deep diving. What do I want? What do I want in life? What do I want to do in life? You know, and what is the lifestyle that I want? What do I want for a job to give me? You know, and I have no problem traveling here and there. You know, I have no problem with that. But 3-4 weeks away from my family, that doesn't make any sense, because now my schedule revolves around trucking. And it's different if, let's say I was getting paid $150, $180, I probably wouldn't be complaining. I'll probably, you know, it is what it is. I'm making good money. That it makes sense. It makes sense for me to be out here, and it makes sense. I could provide a lifestyle, but I'm not able to provide the lifestyle that I want, and I gotta be away. It's not adding up. And I was making decent money, but not money enough to suffice me being away for 3-4 weeks, you know, in my opinion. For me, in my opinion, you know, I worked in a railroad, so I'm used to getting decent paychecks, you know. But if I'm making $300-400 more than what I make, it doesn't, it doesn't, you know, for me, it doesn't make any sense, you know. But that's just for me, my lifestyle. So if you somebody who's thinking about getting in the truck industry, somebody in the truck, I'm not gonna lie, it sounds messed up, but me getting through surgery, me having disability, and also me, I got another job in the meantime that I'm working with right now. So it doesn't pay as much as trucking, but you know, it's paying pretty decent. I'm able to step back, and when I go back to trucking, I'm able to now leave with something in the background. So I got a job already lined up. I can leave trucking now, work this job until I get a situation that identifies with what I want in life, and adheres to the lifestyle that I want. You know, because personally, it does not make any sense for you to be running here, running there, especially your family, man. But even me, when I was single, even when I didn't have a family, I didn't have a kid, I was like, I'm not staying in truck or OTR for more than 2-3 years, because it didn't make any sense. I'm like, okay, unless I'm making crazy money, and that has to at least be 120, 150 to me, which is, it's not crazy, decent money, especially on the East Coast. I'm like, okay, I would consider it. But even then, I'm doing every 2 weeks or every weekend, ideally every weekend, because you're away from your family, you're living that lifestyle. It has to make sense. It has to make sense. Get all your endorsements, by the way, if you're a truck driver. Get all your endorsements. But it has to make sense. So me stepping back, this is the best thing that could have happened to me. You know, I'm less stressed. You know, I feel like the relationship between me and my wife got way better. Just to be honest, I'm just being honest here. I'm happier too, because I get to see my baby boy. I get to see my kid. You know, see him in the morning. He wake up, he see daddy smiling. I don't think, unless you're making crazy money, I don't think that you just being away 3-4 weeks and your kid does not see you. You know, and I've talked to drivers. So these drivers won't tell you this on camera most of the time. I talk to drivers say that my kid hates me. I tell drivers who've been in 3-4 marriages, because it's hard. This lifestyle is very hard, especially if you don't have an out. And how can you have an out when you're not making enough money to have that out? You get me? Like, yeah, 80, 70, 80, like I made $73,000 last year. After the per diem, 63. After everything said and done, road report tires was 55 or 51. 73,000 in the road. I made 72. That's not include the per diem they gave me in the railroad. That's at least 80 plus. It doesn't make any sense. I'm away for 3-4 times out of a week, and I did travel in the railroad too. But I had an apartment. I had a hotel. My family, or somebody could come see me if they wanted to. I see my cousin. I was in places where I could, and you could actually see the city. You know, so me getting older now, I'm like, okay, now trucking is not. It's not a bad. I'm not knocking trucking down. If I had to start all over again, I would start trucking, then transition to the railroad, then doing it the flip side over. But if I was young, 23, 24, trucking is not bad. Or you're a divorced person or person single, trucking is not bad if you have nothing or you have everything. I think that's the only two ways. If you have nothing, trucking is good to start from nothing and you build up, or you have everything, because you could get in and out the industry if you so please. For me, I was in debt. I got into more debt when my pay got cut in half in trucking. And it just, you know, with trucking, there was a lot of ups and downs until I went to this company. But even then, this company's not bad, but I'm like, it has to be more. This is not enough. This is not enough. And I know in order to make the most money, I have to have my own truck. I need to get all my endorsements or transition to get more skills. So it's like become a lineman, like work for the railroad, work for the railroad, work for somebody, add another skill set on top of trucking. You can't just be a truck driver and think that's just enough, unless you're in a market that really needs that. There's some markets I'm seeing that are paying 120, and you doing these, like, you're doing 410s or 510s. That's not bad. 50 hours a week and make it 120, 130. That is not bad. But that market shows it, you know, and that's home every day. That's not bad. But there's some markets that you had to earn another skill. You can't just be just a truck driver. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, Dana K out.